Hi, Dee here. I'm so glad you decided to not put up with an unhappy relationship any longer and you grabbed this video download. Relationships are all about getting together and then being together, and then the all-important, most challenging part of staying together. So here are the 5 fast fixes for your relationship. They can be also described as the 5 key shifts you must make to fix your relationship, because when you know something has to be fixed, we have to make a shift, like we might make a shift in a gear on a car, or all sorts of different shifts or adjustments we make in life. So the best part is that there are only 5 things which have to shift here, and they are your focus, your presence, your mindset, your priority and your intention. So here they are, and not in any particular order. Shift number 1 is to shift your focus from the heat of the moment when you're in a tense situation to your long-term outcome, your lifetime outcome. Shift number 2 is to shift your presence, to be present in the heat of the moment, so you can quickly switch off the heat, or at least turn it down and alter what your reactive behavior might be. Shift number 3 is to shift your mindset and be mindful of what is more important, to be right or to do the right thing. Shift number 4 is to shift your priority, to stay focused on what is important at the end of the day. And shift number 5 is to shift to intention, to stay centered on your relationship intention. Know what your intention is. Are you in it for a lifetime? So running through those again, because they're key to fixing things: focus, outcome focus; presence, turn down or turn off the heat; mindset, doing the right thing; prioritize, be certain of your priorities; deliberate, be intentional. It looks so simple, maybe so obvious, but that's why I'm here, because it's not so simple nor obvious when we're at odds with our partner. We're right in the thick of it, we can't see. And when inconsiderate words are used, when knee-jerk reactivity is the norm, when harmful consequences are the result of both of the above, then relationship distancing starts or is increased. One or both partners will often feel resentful, so the resentment cycle starts. Resentment stacks up, and this is usually not acknowledged nor addressed, perhaps not even noticed. Most people aren't aware of the festering resentment which is building up. This resentment then pops out and fuels the next difference of opinion. The difference of opinion, when fueled by resentment, turns into an argument in a millisecond, often into a hostile, destructive fight, which leaves a trail of wreckage and 2 hearts hurting and more resentment building to fester on. So starting with shift number 1 in more detail, and that's the outcome. The hurt and resentment cycle starts because neither partner is focusing on the long-term plan for their relationship. They're both in the heat of the moment and often say terrible things that they don't mean, with no real idea of how much either one of them's damaging the long-term prospects of staying together. When couples come to see me, they are typically seeking to work out whether to fix things, or can they fix things, if they have a future together, or should they break up. Sadly, should they break up is often at the top of the agenda and the first thing they talk about. And I say sadly because often it's so unnecessary that they're even in this situation. When I ask them if they want to break up, often each partner will say he or she is uncertain. Or one partner might say, no breakup please. My next question then is, well, was there a time when you were certain you would never break up? You would be together forever. And usually both partners can chime in together quickly with a resounding yes. And I ask, when was that? And to their dismay, they frequently can't recall that time. other than their first few heady months together. My next question is then, well, if you'd been focused on the all-important outcome of staying together as much as you were focused on your initial outcome of getting together and being together, would you be in this uncertain situation right now? What would be different? The typical answer is, we would have been nicer to each other, or similar. I ask, well, what would nicer be like? One most common answer to this is, we wouldn't have been so critical, or I wouldn't have been so intolerant, or I would have had more patience. How would it feel if you both had the same focus on your outcome? So this leads to shift number 2, which is to be present. And if you are present, you can immediately turn down the heat. And if an irritation is flaring up, a nasty retort or a criticism is on the end of your tongue, or you're on the receiving end of it, to be present is to be consciously aware of your own emotions, feelings, and rising reactivity, and calm yourself down at the same time, challenging here, as being consciously aware of your partner's emotions, your partner's feelings, and rising reactivity. You can hold yourself back from rising to anger or a defensive retaliation, maintaining your own self-control, as hard as that may seem. But is it really? Because back in the good old days of when you were first together, it wasn't so hard. So why is it now? And why is it getting harder as time goes by? Because in the beginning, you put your best foot forward, and I've often heard couples say, we never argued during our first year together. And we all know the rose-coloured glasses analogy. And yes, that would have been part of it. However, the main part was that you were present then, because you were focused on the outcome, and that outcome probably was intending to get your man or your girl. You were putting on your best face and not wanting the dark parts of yourself to be seen and rejected. And how would it feel if you and your partner were present and able to step back from the heat of the moment now, so mellowing into each other's concerns? How would that feel now? The next shift naturally follows on, and that's the shift number 3, which is to shift your mindset. Shifting from being right to doing the right thing. How many arguments are to do with being right? I'm right, you're wrong. It is a mindset thing to shift from not only being right, but also understanding why you need to be right. If you often catch yourself pushing your viewpoint, taking the I am right or this is the right way stance, then it could be a lot to do with why there is so much friction in your relationship. Taking the I am right position is essentially telling your partner, or others around you if you do that in other areas, that they are wrong. Yes, that's the message you're sending when you take the I am right position or stance. So you can see that it is quite a shift, a mindset shift, to be able to think about it from the other person's viewpoint and think, well, what is right for him or her or us overall? It could be that both of you are taking the I am right stance and therefore have huge clashes. Or it could be that one of you is on the receiving end of the I am right statements from your partner and you are at a serious loss as to how to handle him or her, especially if you know he or she is not right. Some things there are right and wrongs in. So how do you tackle such a strongly opinionated partner in a calm, cooperative way? Do you just simply keep on giving in? This is where changing your mindset to permitting your I am right partner to be right. Yes, truth, you heard me, that's the answer. Change your mindset to a just let it go response with no reactivity. And that will start to have a softening touch, especially if you can muster some kind words and say them in a gentle voice and say, okay, well, we'll go with that then. Now, some of you might be thinking, what, but isn't that meaning I'm just giving in? and letting him be right every time, even if he or she's wrong? Well, my answer is yes. The need to be right will be mellowed out once there is permission to be right, which is couched or spoken in non-challenging phrases. It's not giving in, it's helping shape the mindset. So mindset, words and response, let it go. How would it feel to be on the receiving end of your partner doing the right thing instead of always being right? Different. So shift number 4 is to shift your priority. What really matters at the end of the day? If your long-term relationship is your priority, then your partner's welfare is your priority. Your partner's dignity, self-respect and confidence are your priority, which all points to you showing up as your best self as the priority. Hence, no attacking him or her with criticism or eye rolling or nasty shoulder shrugs, nasty defensiveness or silent treatment. Now, we all have rough days and days where we have less patience than other days, or more deadlines, or our hormones are out of whack. Nevertheless, if in the main you're showing up as your best self, then your relationship will ride the waves of the rougher days with ease and grace. If you keep your eye fixed on the long-term goal, then you can ensure the steps along the journey of coupledom are more steady, supportive, and harmonious. This is not to say that there won't be ups and downs, because that is life and we are human with personalities and frailties and different maps of the world which can mess up calm waters. But at the end of the day, your partner is your priority. How would it feel if you both had the same priority, each other? So to round off now with shift number 5, which is your intentionality. You being deliberate. Imagine this. You wake up each morning with your day in mind. You know exactly what you're going to do, where you're going to, and who you're going to see. You could be a tightly scheduled person or maybe a go-with-the-flow person. But nevertheless, you'll usually achieve what you set out to achieve by the end of the day. That's intentionality. So how about your relationship? Does that get the same attention and planning? How would it feel if your partner focused on your relationship as much as he or she does on his or her work or family or sports or socializing and so on? I'm speaking to both of you now. How would it feel? How intentional are you about your relationship? Understanding what intentionality means is the key to unlocking the negative conflict between you. And that's the gold nugget here. If you use your GPS to get from A to B, then you intentionally set out by entering the destination address in your phone maps or app or whatever you use. And then you follow the directions, at least some of them, the parts you're not familiar with. How would it be if you thought of your relationship in terms of getting from A to B? A being where you are now, which may be mildly unhappy or terribly miserable, which is why you're here, and B being the new destination for you and your partner. That destination then becomes your focus, your outcome, your priority, your purpose, and you intentionally, deliberately set yourself on the new road to reach that destination by taking the shortest, most direct route or route, whichever country you're in. Well, then making these 5 shifts will be the road signs for you. There's a transcript of this video, a little workbook that you can download at the bottom here and read over a few times. You'll get more great information about exactly this, which will set you on the right path on my free live webinar coming up in a couple of days' time. So go to the button below here again and reserve your seat. You do need to reserve your seat, and you can get even more help, great help, the help you need as fast as you can. And I'm looking forward to being able to provide that help for you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I hope it has been of great value for you.